in motion. Good morning, dear ladies and gentlemen. It's a honor to be here on this stage. My name is Andrey Suvorov. Can you hear me? I am from Kaspersky Lab company. Today, I would like to tell you a story about industrial cybersecurity. And while I am driving to this beautiful place, just a second. Yes, when I was driving to this beautiful place, I knew one fact, that if you will go to the crossroad between 12th and 7th Street, you will find 4 C's corner here in Punta del Este. And I would like to use my speech today to provide you wider view on topic which maybe from the beginning is not very unique, but I will prove in 20 minutes that we deal with absolutely new discipline in the area of industrial cybersecurity. And if you run the business, especially for oil and gas companies, it should be definitely inside discussion of your board. Let's start. I will provide in 20 minutes information about new type of the risk for all of us. I will provide information how we can handle this risk, how to react on new changes. And of course, I am ready and open for your questions. And this is the main reason of this interactive session. Let's start. First of all, cyber. What is new here? We all have a lot of rumors, facts, information on TV about cyber, but I would like to provide you some information about the last surveys we had. Number one, you know Davos Forum, which is a World Economic Forum. Main participants of this forum belongs to the groups either governments or big corporations, so founder or CEOs, and they put their voices in 2017, 3 months ago, about main kind of risks for all of us. You see on the screen that there is only one type of the risk from technology group with the name cyber attacks. They put it very close to the traditional terrorist attack and interstate conflicts. Again, this is results of the voting of people who are not very professional in cybersecurity aspects. So they put it in the same row as other very significant type of risks. Second survey. Thanks to Allianz Group, which is a very famous insurance and risk management company, every year they run survey for top managers of big companies, about 700, from 700 to 800 every year, depending on the year. And please have a look on results of this survey and evolution. 4 years ago, in 2013, maybe it was third or second RPL event, people voted for cyber incidents as a number 13 place, which definitely indicated the information of top management about awareness, about importance of cyber risk. But only after 4 years, we have currently cyber threats as a number 3, which means that if you run business, if you would like to be successful on the market, you should take into consideration all possible risks which can harm your business. Please be aware that based on almost all last surveys, cyber risks, cyber incidents matter for big corporations. It's interesting analytics exercise. You can run it for your country, you can run it for your industry. We did it based on Fortune 500 source. We took 10 most successful companies based on revenue and market share for 2001. It's about energy sector and US, it's public companies. And we checked position of these 10 companies after 15 years. 15 years, it's more or less average life cycle for SCADA, for ICS systems. So we saw what did change. And you can see that the business environment for oil and gas, for energy sector, is very volatile. So after 15 years, only 2 companies still have the same position on the market. 8 will dramatically change their position because of different type of risks, including my message that if you live and work today in 2017, you should understand what does it mean for you. What does cyber threat mean for your business? Of course, we all live in an environment of industrial revolution. Based on all reports, oil and gas industry maybe is not very fast moving in this direction. But definitely I see a lot of evidences that in nearest future you will use absolutely different technologies, which will improve your cost structure or will bring new business model. So it's one small example that now it takes about 3 minutes to build a digital model of everything. I took it for myself, but I came here to Arpel from Hannover Messe, and I saw a lot of stands with the companies who provide 3D printing for industrial environment. I cannot predict exactly, but it may happen in 5 years that you will be able in your plants to order only one pump or only one product just by clicking in the internet, and it will be printed and delivered in real time. So please be aware that we live here today with a cyber risk importance, and it will increase only because every new technology means more integration. So for us, for cybersecurity company, means more vulnerability. And I would like to pay your attention that in case of industrial cyber attack, we deal with absolutely different story. And the main difference between industrial cyber attack and all other kind of attacks that you can see it and you can have a sound from this attack. I will provide you just one example to make information about how it can look like in reality. So we run this, we call it Capture the Flag, CTF exercise, in October 2016. It was an event for 300 industrial customers. We invited company who is responsible for energy sector, and they built, you see it here, it's about 10 meters width, particular hardware environment for digital substation, including power generation segment, and including 2 kinds of consumers, oil plant and district for citizens. And then we invited so-called white hackers. And the task was try to penetrate into this environment, try to find vulnerabilities in existing environment, and try to run attack. The main idea was to understand what are the vulnerabilities and what is the behavior of people who try to run this attack. And you see here in the red circle, header bay, which is the main device for balancing energy between generating facility and consumers. And now I would like to demonstrate what did happen. And it was done from keyboard, which can be anonymous. So it was real physical incident. It took 10 hours from the initial connection to these white hackers to the incidents. And unfortunately, it's not artificial story, because we all still have a stereotyped cliche that our systems are isolated, we have well-tested components, and for the next slides, I would like to share last information. So you see here results of our report. about how much our ICS computers, which run SCADA systems or HMA or other tasks, how much they are under risk. And you see some colors, but I will present you next slide. You can find top 15 countries. And what does it mean? For example, let's take 10 countries. Peru. 53% means that 53% of computers who run industrial software and who run in the same time Kaspersky Lab security solution are under attack. So we identified it, at least one malicious software which were found, identified on these particular computers for ICS environments. So the number is very big, as you can see. The second story, it's also publicly available information. You can see here the total numbers is about 75 and even more. This is about 0 days vulnerability we found on the level of controllers and SCADA system. What does it mean? Just one example. We found for one very respectable vendor just one vulnerability which allows to establish session for particular port, and this connection will completely stop PLC. It will be invisible for operators, and only it should be done by physical presence. But this connection can be done by free of charge small utility. So we identified the 0 day vulnerabilities. As I mentioned, we found in total more than 75. And you see the picture, 58 from these 75 are very critical for production. So, and we saw it from real commercial projects. It's not, again, artificial findings. It's interesting exercise we did with one of our customers. You can check on your plans. You see here that to run cyber attack on offloading terminal, which almost every refinery plant on the planet can have, it may take from 14 hours, depending on qualification of people who will try to run this attack. Good news, that nobody can run such attack in one step. You see here, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4 steps after penetration to the industrial network, which can be done. Bad thing that your current solutions will not provide you information about all of these 4 steps. You are blind to detect and to prevent such kind of information. And this is the main message. If you think that you have a perimeter protected and antivirus software for some of your SCADA system, it's not protection, it's illusion. And we are ready to prove specific elements and specific vectors of attack for industrial system. So why should I be worried? So what will it be for you? Let me go through a couple of exercise, incident, and story to share what can be impact and what can be real challenges for the companies. You see here official report, it's just from February 16, when one guy was put in a prison after proven attack to the industrial facility. This attack, which were done by former employer, cost to the company more than $1 million. One incident, $1 million. So it's costly for industrial customer. We see a new trend in the area of industry, which is industrial fraud. On this slide, you may have an exercise we found with one of our projects about how people with the knowledge of SCADA and with an access to ICS environment can steal oil, light oil products. It's not a big deal. They may have from 2 up to 5%, just adjusting information, which then will be invisible in your ERP systems. Nobody even will discover this dependency. So if you have no information from fields, you will not find and identify this challenge. And of course, we have a most dangerous trend with a targeted attack, including industrial environment. So I took it from the media. It happened in July, August 2016. Now this case is under investigation, but you can see that during 1 month, it was 5 similar incidents in Iran in 5 close plants. It's not a theory of probability. I am a mathematician, and it's not my opinion, and you see that it might happen, that there is a cyber attack which is behind of all these 5 incidents. And again, the difference between cyber attack on traditional environment and on industrial environment is huge. Explosion, victims, and other stuff. So what can we do? In the next 3-4 minutes, I will try to explain what are our opinion and how we would propose you to follow with this new reality. We deal with the risk. You are very experienced in risk management because you manage big companies. So from theory and classic, we should either avoid this risk, which is not possible because all surveys show that it's growing. We cannot avoid it. So we can accept it. You should calculate, it's an easy exercise for your company. You should calculate what is the price for unplanned outage. We took $250K for one of our oil and gas companies. I will provide you a case for this story, but it may be your cost. But you definitely should have this figure. So number 3, transfer risk. Usually, we use insurance market to transfer type of risk. I will show you in the next slide what we have currently for industrial insurance. And mitigate means how can we use and adjust our approach to reduce this type of industrial cyber risk. For those of you who are familiar with the industrial insurance market, I would like to mention that all these 3 abbreviations, CL380 and others, belong to industrial insurance regulation internationally. And they regulate all cases and compensation in case machinery breakdown or business interruption will happen in the industrial facility. And unfortunately, for the customer side, currently there is no insurance market response. In case it will be proven that machinery breakdown or business interruption was a result of computer incidents, insurance company will excuse and will show you the small font in your contracts which declares that they will not pay for these cases. So please check your contracts. Please be aware that if you think that you will be able to transfer this risk to insurance market, it may not work in this case. And regarding mitigate, we have 3 pillars: people, process, and technology. Unfortunately, with the all very experienced OT teams, with engineering teams, we see the lack of information and experience in the area of cybersecurity, which is the first and simplest source of compromising and incidents source. So you see here 9 tricks. It's a security tool. It's for free. We can share it with all of you. For example, number 9, never you should charge personal devices from industrial network servers and workstation. We still have situations in real life when we try to check what's going on in fields, because not every engineer has this simple awareness and training. So number 1, people. They should be trained for new reality. It can be posters, it can be professional trainings, but definitely it should be done in the area of OT cybersecurity. And traditional tools and traditional approach are not always applicable here. Processes. It's a good news that we have countries with a high level of attention for critical infrastructure protection. You will see here results of our assessment for 196 countries in terms of their readiness. We see good trends that at least more than half of them are ready, and there are 5 main components: strategy, dedicated agency, response team for the country, program to collaborate between agencies inside country, and public and private sector collaboration. And the second advice I would recommend, we launched this initiative recently in 2016. We have Kaspersky Lab ICS Cert. It's a website where you can find information about last industrial incidents, about last vulnerabilities found, relations to particular projects, to particular vendors. So it's valuable source of information for those of you who are interested in protection of your facilities. Please, if you will consider technology level, don't follow from the features and capabilities of boxes and software packages which your traditional partner try to sell or to offer. With the new threat attacks, with the new incidents in industrial area, we should not only focus on traditional attack vectors, like compromising of computers or network, but we should try to understand what can be the logic of attackers to use integrity of technology process. Just one example, in this case, for offloading terminal, you see this storage tank, which can be changed in terms of level. So level metering device, its value can be changed. Faked information will still be provided to SCADA level, and it can cause, with deferred effect, some serious physical incident. So leakage or even more. So we should have information from fields, and we should have information about behavior, not only about infrastructure elements, like new device in the system or new type of connection. It should be related to the logic of technology process. We announced our solution for the market, which cover all 3 levels of technology process, which are SCADA systems, PLC, and industrial network. It's important to know that such solution allow to monitor events on the level of industrial network and do it in a passive way. We do not change technology process. I wouldn't like to go to details, but please be aware that we should compare our solution not with others, but with possible behavior of attackers. Please welcome to one of our customers. The name is Taneka. The plant itself was built in Greenfield. So they put first step in 2005, and after 6 years they run operations. So they processed the first barrel in 2011. And you see that after assessment, even on such modern enterprise, we found a couple of events. Each of these events could lead to serious incidents. So currently people got real information from industrial domain, because currently they mostly operate only on information which is a little bit above. And in many cases it can be too late. And as I mentioned before, we started this exercise with the business owners of the systems, and we justified possible unplanned outage cost. It's very important to understand what is the risk, what is the business impact of any possible incident. So my strong message, please dedicate some time, please find expert in your teams and arrange a discussion within board. Do you see this trend? Do you understand what are the risks, what are the weaknesses inside your production domain, and how to react? Our recommendation, our roadmap, depends on what kind of the status customer may have. We may have situation on the right side when it's too late to have some smooth predicted steps. If you are under attack, you may have a very quickly engagement of computer emergency response team. We have a couple of teams, so you should understand who can help you in such situations. And of course, it may require to install very quickly some monitoring to avoid further expansion of the attack. If you are trying to follow from the left side, of course you have some time. You should think about education of your staff. Then you should put some investment in a building of threat model for your particular technology process or even for your critical technology units, which is very crucial to understand possible damages and possible weaknesses from perspective of cyber attack. And of course, if you will go further, if you will discover some weaknesses and would like to detect this information, would like to predict and prevent some attack, you should have some solution which will allow you to monitor this kind of event. One of the last slides today, I would like to call you for action to assess your existing environment, and it's not a big science. If you will have on one side information about price for unplanned outage, from another side you will see some possible investments. So for example, typical training for OT cybersecurity costs about 20K, depending geography. It will definitely increase the level of protection. So you may start even from small steps. One slide about Kaspersky Lab. We will celebrate 20 years this year. We are famous on cybersecurity globally for different domains. And currently we have a KICS, which is Kaspersky Industrial Cybersecurity. I am proud to be here and share that last year in 2016, we got a main prize for World Internet Conference for Best Technology Innovation, which means not only quality of our solution, but which means acknowledgement of the topic of industrial cybersecurity. And I'm here for today and for tomorrow for all of you. If you are interested to know more about industrial cybersecurity, about specific of scenarios of cyber attack, I am ready. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Andrey. I think your presentation gave us a very wide view of the cybersecurity challenge as you tried. La siguiente exposición está a cargo de Maximilian, CEO y director gerente de WisePlant. Maximilian es ingeniero en electrónica con especialización en sistemas de control industrial y ciberseguridad industrial. Es miembro de ISA 99, colabora en el desarrollo y es docente del programa de capacitación y certificación de profesionales en ciberseguridad industrial de la ISA. Maximilian.
Gracias, Brian. Ahí está, ok. Bueno, buen día a todos, muchas gracias. Gracias, Andrey, gracias, Brian. Bueno, cuando hablamos de infraestructuras críticas, a ver si esto pasa de acá o del otro. Me dieron otro a mí. Ahora sí. Bueno, cuando hablamos de infraestructuras críticas, estamos hablando de diferentes sectores industriales o sectores de mercado. Estamos haciendo referencia a bancos, sistemas financieros, sistemas de emergencia, edificios gubernamentales, monumentos en algunos casos. Un ejemplo en Estados Unidos sería similar a lo de las Torres Gemelas. También estamos haciendo referencia a petroquímicas, empresas de energía, de aguas, alimentos, represas, centrales nucleares. La diferencia que tenemos entre ellas es que en algunas tenemos solamente tecnologías de información y en otras tenemos ambas. Tenemos tecnologías de la información y también tenemos tecnologías industriales, sistemas de control o plantas industriales. De todos modos, la ciberseguridad no es solamente preocupación de las infraestructuras críticas, porque también preocupa a aquellas industrias que no son críticas. Hay muchísimas, incluyendo siderurgia, metalurgia, Bueno, podrían ser algunas, inclusive podrían ser críticas también, pero puede ser fábrica de pinturas, juguetes, caramelos. Hay un montón de industrias, grandes empresas que también se ven preocupadas, involucradas en este tema. En el resto de la presentación vamos a puntualizar sobre 6 elementos claves que tiene que tener un buen programa de ciberseguridad industrial para ser efectivo y eficiente. Uno de los primeros factores o elementos que tiene que tener, que debemos considerar, son las diferencias tecnológicas que existen entre los sistemas corporativos y los sistemas industriales. En esta gráfica, de manera muy resumida, ya que las redes tanto de IT como de OT llegan a ser mucho más complejas de lo que se ve acá en esta pequeña diapositiva, y sin embargo hay algunas características que podemos demostrar acá rápidamente. Primero es dónde se ubican los usuarios, dónde nos ubicamos nosotros, los operadores. En el caso de las redes corporativas, redes de IT, los usuarios se ubican en los endpoints, en los teléfonos, en las tablets, en las notebooks, en las PCs, en las terminales, en Internet. En la planta es diferente porque los operadores se localizan en la sala de control. En el caso de IT, las salas de los data centers es donde está el corazón a proteger, que son los servidores, donde está el elemento crítico, clave a proteger, que es lo que nos permite, donde debemos garantizar la confidencialidad y preservar la información y preservarla en el tiempo. En los sistemas industriales, los operadores están en el centro y en la periferia tenemos lo que es el sistema de control distribuido, que es lo que está en contacto con el mundo físico. En el caso de las redes corporativas, el elemento más crítico a proteger es el elemento central. En el caso de los sistemas industriales, el elemento crítico a proteger es toda la periferia, que es lo que está en contacto con el mundo físico, que es lo que me puede provocar las consecuencias que nos preocupan en el ámbito industrial. Otra de las características importantes también acá en los sistemas industriales es que no es posible administrar todos los distintos proveedores o las distintas tecnologías que existen en la industria desde un único lugar, desde un único punto. ¿Por qué? Porque nos encontramos con que tenemos fabricantes con muchos protocolos distintos, con sistemas operativos distintos, con propietarios, con soluciones propietarias, y no hay forma de administrarlos todos desde un único lugar. Desde el punto de vista de la administración puede ser hasta molesto para aquellos que la tienen que llevar adelante, porque es incómodo desde el punto de vista de que tengo que trasladarme a cada lugar a hacer la gestión y la administración. Pero desde el punto de vista de la seguridad es un beneficio porque no hay un punto común de falla, un punto común de ataque. Para poder atacar toda la infraestructura industrial tengo que ir uno por uno. Y además tengo que saber los secretos de cada uno de los distintos proveedores y distintas tecnologías. Algo interesante a ver acá también es que si bien en los sistemas industriales han incorporado las tecnologías de IT y siguen incorporando, hace ya muchos años que se viene incorporando la tecnología de IT, la realidad es que a pesar de haberla incorporado, los fabricantes de los sistemas de control incorporan adaptaciones propietarias necesarias para el ambiente industrial.